So we're actually living in the end of days. And the thing is, the end of days is not just a religious concept, it's a historical concept. There are different times and seasons that have marked beginning and the end of days. And it is important for us to learn wisdom from those who have navigated the end of days, and for us to see those who thrived, those who escaped, and those who went with it. One of the things you get to understand is that in the times of the end of days, it has nothing to do with your good intentions. It has nothing to do with your prayers, sadly. It has all to do with your approach. There is some sort of serendipity to it, but there are certain kinds of people that effectively navigate these things. And we need to begin to look at ourselves to find out if we actually do have the qualities to navigate through. End of days usually never comes, people never come out of it. But a few people have been resilient enough to turn the times. So there could be maybe an organization that is experiencing the end of days. The end of days for an organization would mean they are nearing towards bankruptcy. They've lost market share, and so for companies like maybe Kodak, companies like the BlackBerry, companies like the Nokia, okay, certain times they experience the end of days. And I do understand this because at some times I've worked, I consulted with an organization that is experiencing the end of days. So this was an organization that majorly functioned on grants. And so when the sole sponsor, which was the government, stopped and moved away from that, they could not renew their grant, we began to see that diminishing returns. And then we began to see the inevitable. One of the first things we began to see was that because not every other person knew within the organization that this was the fate that befell the organization, the people who knew started looking for other opportunities. So what that means is that at that point, one of the core values to look out for is not loyalty. You cannot be loyal to something that is doomed to die, like an organization. Because it's a capitalist economy, we're always looking for the next break, the next profitable space, and all of that. And so we noticed that the number of people within the organization began to reduce. It started from decision makers, strategic people, and then the organizational heads, the CEO, began to look for ways to massage what is left. And so we began to see certain forms of promotions, taking people up, giving people sorts of promises. I remember then I almost got some sort of promotion, and the CEO then was promising me, oh, don't worry, even though you feel you're not skilled for this, but we are solidly behind you. We're going to make this work for you, this and that. And that is not the time for you to be naive. Even though at that time I could say I was a bit naive, but I knew what I wanted, and I knew that was not what I wanted. And I could actually sense that things were off, until that time when it was probably difficult for the organization to even pay salaries anymore. The CEO was no longer in the country for a long period of time. We did not know whether I was coming back. All of these are signs, okay? So when we talked about the end of days, there is the financial end of days, there is the political end of days, there is the economic end of days, there is the relationship end of days, okay? And so it's important for us to begin to think and look and observe. One of the core things that one needs to have, especially in this time, it's discernment. And if you don't have discernment, you need to find useful data. But the thing about this is many of the times you only have that data when it's pretty much too late. Okay, but the concept of what I need you to understand with the end of days is there will be signs. And for people who have read the scriptures, you understand Jesus telling us what the signs will be when the end of days come. There are books that tell you about the history of organizations. Find it, read it. look at nations that collapsed. Begin to look at the template. What must happen as a system begins to crash? Whether it's a political system, whether it's a financial system, whether it's an economic system, whether it's a religious system, there are lots of information to do that. And when you begin to learn that, it's actually going to help you. Now, one of the core things that I believe that you need to have when it comes to navigating an end of days, because one of the things people don't understand is, and a lot of people are so far from reality, our generation might be an end of day generation. Why? Because we are coming into a new technological innovation, artificial intelligence. Remember, we've left the age of information. Now we're in the age of intelligence. It is the end of days for information as we know it. Because when the age of intelligence comes in fully, it's going to change the ballgame. And so there are some people who are praying to hold on to certain jobs that are doomed to go. That is not the time to hold on to it. That is the time to know, what must I have to navigate this end of days seasons, okay? And so in the age of intelligence, what are some of the skills that you need to have? So I'll give you an example. In the age of information, some of the skills you need to have is curation, how to use data, how to understand data, how to write, how to read, and there are businesses and medium and things that are built around that concept. But in the age of intelligence, one of the things you would know is that there will be bigger problems. And so problem solving will be a very fundamental skill. Creativity, in the sense that how to create new things, how to think in a novel way, design thinking. This is something that you need to know. Adaptability, how to adapt to changing times and new times. Change management, okay, is also something you need to understand. Plot trending, how to understand trends, knowledge of history. There is a lot that we can actually learn from history. And so one of the core things we need to understand and navigate if we want to successfully go through the season is understand the reality and do not delude yourself. There are lots of things that would be destroyed. By destroyed, that means they will pass with this age. There are many jobs, there are many systems, there are many ways of governance, there are many systems of finance, there are many ways relationships are being run that will not hold. And so the core thing you need to task yourself with is, in this new age of intelligence, what must I have? Who must I become in order to effectively navigate the season? The beautiful thing about intelligence is it is result-oriented. And it reminds me of one of the beautiful things that Jesus mentioned. Everybody's going to go through a test. And that test will separate those who have and those who do not have. It's like a rapture. It's a rapture event. Some will be taken up, some will be left. Those who will be taken up are those who passed, are those who have the prerequisites, are those who have the skills, are those who have the potentials, are those who have shown by track record that they have what it takes to thrive in this new world. Those who will be left behind are those who are solely dependent on systems, those who are at the bottom of the pyramid, those who are consumers. There's nothing in their life that they have created. They've not been a part of anything novel. They're always waiting for people to do things, and then they climb on it and then they use those things. Those people have no part in this new future, in this age of intelligence. And so you need to begin to think about your career. You need to begin to think about your family system. You need to begin to think about your life and understand that you must radically, I'm saying it double times, reinvent yourself. And the worst fate you can have is to seek to reinvent yourself upon templates of history and templates of the past. This is a season for creators. This is a season for people with a vision who know the possibilities of the future, the challenges of the future that might either destroy us or save us. But nonetheless, they are already trading with the future. And the future will always be kind to those who trade with it. The future will never be kind to those who expect it to give them without having something to trade. The world is for the brave, not the innocent. The world is for those who have results, those who have potentials, and those who have the capacity to bend the bow. The bow is going to be that challenge that everyone, either personally, by community, by institution, by association, will have to face. And there are certain demonstrations that are required. If you don't have it, you will not be able to bend the bow. When the time comes and the bow is given to you, I hope that you have the capacity and the wherewithal to at least be able to bend the bow. Because it is those who bend the bow that would have something to give their generation. See you some other time.